What's going on today, guys? About a month ago or so, Kubey Knives reached out to me on Instagram and offered to send me a knife to get a look at. And I haven't handled one of their knives in hand, so I was like, yeah, sure, let's get a look at it. So they sent out this guy. It's a Mikkel Williamson design knife. He's been around for a long time. He designs big, beefy, hard use folders. So this is no different than most of his other designs. Fits really well in the hand, but you need to know that going in. This is about 6.42 ounces. It's a big knife. Let's just get you some comparisons real quick. I will show you against a Para 2 from Spyderco. And you can just kind of see the girthy nature of it. Let's show you up against a Bug Out. Again, look how much larger that blade profile is. And then if you have a Spyderco Delica or something like that, you can kind of see a difference here. So she's a big girl. She's a big bat. And let's just show you a Manix 2, because that's about one of the widest knives that I own and that I'll actually carry. So you can see it's about the same width here, but it carries that width all the way through the knife. Again, you can't really compare the handle's thickness because this is a big girl. She's a big back. And when they're closed, if you don't mind like the real estate that big knives take up, it's actually a little bit smaller when closed than a Spyderco Manix. But again, thicker in handle. So we got that out of the way. She's a big girl. But there's definitely a market for that. The blade steel on this is AUS 10. I'm not really familiar with that steel. I've used a bunch of AUS 8 over the years. And you can see the AUS 10 right there. So I only carried and used this for about a day. So I'm going to have to put some more time on it and then also resharpen it to my edge to see how well the actual edge holding is. But I have no doubt that this will do everything that you need it to do, and especially at the price point. This is a lot of knife for the price point on these guys. I'll have a link below where you can get these, but the liner locks up really well. I always like to see it on liner lock. I want it covered the tang, but if I can help it, no more than it needs to cover the tang. So that's stopping right there. When they start walking over and almost getting close to that other liner for a liner lock, there's not a whole lot of life left in there. But something like this is exactly how I like to see them made. So well done. Deep carry clip on this, just a no frills clip. Has flush screws there so it can go in and out of your pocket. I didn't have any problems getting in and out of pocket. Nice little lip there. This is a grippy G10, so could be just a little bit of a pocket shredder if you're not careful. Usually with G10 knives with clips, just over the years, I've just built this habit where before I put them in my pocket, I'll lift that up. I'll slide in my pocket. Once the knife is in my pocket, I'll kind of do it, and then I'll let go of the clip. And then sometimes I'll have to push it down just a little bit. But anything to minimize the wear on my pockets, because I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll rip out a pocket within a few months of carrying something like this. Again, not really a solution other than just letting you know that the clip on this G10, just like any other knife that is designed this way, can eat up your pocket. And how you can eliminate that for the most part by getting just a little lift and going in. When I say the knife is heavy, it's not too heavy. If I was wearing jeans every day, I could definitely carry a 6.4 ounce folder. They did a lot to lighten up the liners in here with all that milling in there. And even this lock side is milled as much as possible. But they still have a full G10 backspacer here. A little bit raised. Looks real premium on there, but it does add just a little bit of weight. Not that G10's real heavy or anything. I'd rather have it than not have it on this knife. Again, Mikkel Williamson, his designs are big and beefy, really wide, little bit of a finger choil. If I had to nitpick, I would say we should make that just a little bit larger. Because again, if I just put the tip of my finger in there, well, that's okay. But if I try to get a full finger in there, well, now I'm going to cut myself right there. So why do we have it there if it's not useful all the way? But I've had this problem all the way down to even hinders, you know. Not everybody does it like Spyderco, where it's purposely made to fit a full hand in there if you need to. So again, we could just widen that up just a little bit if you did a 2.0 version of this. And I think that would eliminate that complaint. It has a custom Kubey knives pivot on there. I think it's pretty cool. It's better than just a plain Jane pivot. And it does fit in your hand really well. Big, wide, beefy blade. And it comes down to a pretty thin cutting edge. It cuts a little better than you would expect. I'll say that. Again, I wouldn't be afraid to use this thing out on a camping trip or anything like that. She's just a big girl. And that liner is a lot thicker than it looks, with no recess. So a lot of liner locks. I don't have another one here. Oh man. I don't have another liner lock here to show you. But usually liner locks have a little bit of a cutout here. But this keeps the full strength all the way through that liner. So it's a nice knife. I would be really interested to try out another Kubey knife that isn't as big and overbuilt as this one. But I do think I owe it to myself to experiment with this AUS 10 and see how well the edge holding is, see if any corrosion stuff comes up. And what I was going to show you is, just because I have them here, wow, a bit of a mess I got here, but I believe this is AUS 8. And some of the other cold steel knives, AUS 8 is what I'm a little more familiar with. This is the Raja 3 from like 20 years ago. I'm exaggerating, but anyways, big knife, right? You can kind of see the difference there. But again, it was fun getting to know the AUS 8 back in the day. I'd like to get to know the AUS 10 so I could be a little more informed to tell you guys on that. But overall, it's a really well-designed knife. Fits in your hand really well. I think the execution of the fit and finish on this thing is really nice. Now that I just said that, it does look like that's a little bit mismatched there. Can you see it where that G10 is just a little over that liner? Maybe that's by choice because the rest of it's not. And both sides are like that on the top. I don't know. Nitpicking at that point. It's a lot of knife for the money. Definitely. She a big girl though. 6.42 ounces showing on my scale. And it just fills up your whole hand. And it's going to be a bit of a pocket hog being that wide in there and that thick. But this is a lot of people's daily needs. They want something big, heavy duty, something that maybe you shouldn't be prying with, but they're going to pry a little with it. You know, nice big thick blade stock there. Sitting on bearings. Action is really nice. Because of the weight of the blade, detent is made really well. Flipper's made really well. Comes about 90 degrees off that pivot, which if you watch my videos, you know that's about the sweet spot. You can light switch it, just pulling back on it. Or you can push button where you just push it straight down. And I'm failing this because I'm behind a camera. And the blade is heavy. So if you don't really put some finger action in there or a little bit of wrist and finger, right, you can, if you really try to fail it, you can. Going straight up and down. Let's see, this is level to the floor. Let's see, straight down. Of course, she fires like a rocket. Again, to me, that's going to be expected with this big heavy blade. Knives that are a little lighter, they have a little more ping. They don't need as much to get going. So it's not too surprising and not a deal breaker for me. I think it's a nice knife for the price. If you're in the market for something big and overbuilt, I have no problem handing this to somebody. All right. I appreciate Kubey for sending it out. I'd like to see one that's a little smaller. Again, I don't carry a whole lot of huge knives anymore, but it's a good one if you're looking for it. See ya.